Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. It's our first stab at making a YouTube. I do tarot and stuff, and it keeps telling me, start a podcast, reach out over the interwaves. So I've decided it's time. We've decided it's time. Well, Mom's been around ready to start forever, but I have a busy life. So here we are.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a Sunday morning. The birds are singing. Our dogs are barking, so please excuse. We're just doing this on my iPhone 15. I'm sure if anyone gives a shit about this, we'll upgrade the equipment.
Right.
All right. So the first one, we're just going to introduce ourselves. I gotta stop talking so fast. You want to go first?
Mm-mm.
We don't talking. Okay, so this is the Tonya Lindsay Show. That's Tonya. I'm Lindsay. That's my mom. I'm her kid.
Yep.
And we just have hilarious conversations that we thought maybe we should share with everybody. Because we're really smart. And the internet did not have enough white women talking. So here we are.
Oh, God.
LOL.
I definitely don't want to be one of those.
Right. We try. I think intention is important, but also accountability. Okay. So, we have been through it in our lives.
Mm-hmm.
We don't look like what we've been through. Well, she doesn't. But I just feel like the background of all of it informs how we view our world. Mom is what we've been through medically. Her more than me, her longer than me, but we still beat most of y'all. Not that it's a competition for suffering, but no. Your adventure started in 86. So imagine going through some scary medical stuff in Memphis in 1986.
Yeah. I was riding a roller coaster.
A famous one.
Yeah, the Zippin' Pippin.
The Zippin' Pippin.
At Liberty Land. And my heart had a little attack. Yeah.
In the middle of the ride.
Yes. Yeah. It took a while to figure it out.
So what happened? What was it? What were the symptoms like? What did it feel like?
I remember getting very sweaty and nauseated. Like I was going to barf. And then my legs went numb. Yeah.
Numb. And so when you got off the ride...
I couldn't get off because I couldn't feel my legs. And I was being kind of made fun of in a loving way.
Right, like you get off...
What's the matter, you wimp?
You get off a roller coaster and you're nauseated. Especially in the 80s. People are going to bully you.
Yeah, so I was like... Oy.
And you were 22, right?
Mm-hmm.
22 years old.
Yep. So I got off the ride and sat on the ground and waited for like a first aid wagon to show up.
Wagon.
Yeah. Took me to the first aid area of Liberty Land. And by then my legs had started to come back. No idea why they were numb.
Wow.
And they started to come back and feeling better, but the nausea consistently kept going. So, yeah.
All right.
Put me on a path to 4 emergency room visits.
With your mom.
24 hours.
Yeah.
To a Jewish gastroenterologist named Michael Levinson to take an interest in the ER and believe me that I had something wrong. So
I know you don't hear it, but we hear the poodle barking. So it was 4 ER visits. Finally found a doctor. You said he was an endocrinologist?
No, gastroenterologist.
Gastroenterologist. Dexter!
Anyway, yes.
And they finally found what? I mean, how many tests? And
it was a whole week of tests because he was a gastroenterologist. He went through his routine first, which is endoscopy and all the x-rays and checking your leg, checking everything. And nothing came up suspicious or weird until the last day I was going to be discharged. And he said he had one more test that was not invasive. It would be over quickly. And they just wanted to make sure my heart wasn't throwing out stuff.
Yeah, back then they didn't know how women's heart attacks looked different than men's with the nausea, dizziness.
Yeah, nothing
like
I had pointed them to my heart. So that was the last place they looked. And lo and behold, the echo tech
So it was an echocardiogram? Okay.
preps me and gets, the gown and the goo and gets the wand on there. And then I see him put the wand and I see him pull the wand back. I see him go over to the phone and he's like,
That always, bodes well.
and I didn't clock it at the time because I was already out the door, discharged, thinking this was just some stupid nightmare. I didn't know.
22.
Yeah. And I had a baby at home.
I was like, what, 3?
3 or, almost 4. Yeah. So, I get back to my room after that test, and Dr. Levinson comes bursting in, like, right away. He's so excited. He's so happy. He's like, we know what it is. We found it. You have a tumor in your heart, and it's been throwing out these pieces, and all we have to do is take that out, and you're going to be fine. And he was so excited. But I heard lots of big words like heart tumor? Take it out?
Throwing out pieces?
Yeah. So, yeah, terrifying introduction to the Carney complex.
And this was at Downtown Baptist, back when that was still there, right? Baptist Memorial Hospital. BMH.
The BMH on Madison Avenue.
Oh my gosh, it was on Madison.
Yeah.
So, they did what?
My introduction to Carney. Oh, they did some heart surgery. It was brutal. So I did not have a clue what to expect. And I didn't even have a cardiologist, really. I had a gastroenterologist who grabbed his neighbor, Rodney Wolf, cardio surgeon, and said, I want you to do this.
Boo.
But he didn't let go of my care. So I really was anyway, I was very ignorant to what to expect.
And so were they.
So after my first surgery, I got what 20% of people get, which is cardio effusion. Anyway, it's fluid on the heart. And so my heart I got giantly huge around my heart, and I couldn't breathe, and I thought, well, maybe I'm not supposed to feel good.
It feels like cardiac failure, right? A bit, or
yeah, you're just drowning in your own stuff.
Yeah, your heart can't pump away the fluid that naturally occurs, or there's too much fluid. I guess.
Yeah.
They literally will drain that fluid. Is that what happened? They drained it?
Yes, with a needle through my chest. It was 2 liters.
2 liters, y'all. That's a Coke. That's a...
After that got drained off, I healed very well and came back very strong and put it behind me.
Yeah, you're 22. Bam, bam.
Yeah, for a couple of years.
So what did the follow-up care look like?
There really wasn't any.
Yeah.
Because I didn't have a cardiologist. They didn't think I needed one.
Okay, they thought it was a one-shot thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because that's that's typically what you see with a myxoma is once.
They are rare, but if they do see them, it's a one-off shot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think we're at 8 minutes here. Can we...
That's a lot.
Right. That's okay, though. We just want to keep it short. Light. Maybe like digestible chunks, not light, because it's just not light. So like, they were wrong. They recurred. And
2 years later.
2 years later, and then after that,
5
years, and after that,
2 years.
Like, they kept coming back. And these guys, these surgeons didn't know what they know now for folks like us, is that they're going to come back. What they thought with her is they were leaving tissue behind that was then able to regrow. So they were taking more and more of her native heart tissue out until, you were 35?
Yeah, 35, 36.
35, 36 with titanium valve.
Yeah.
Pacemaker.
Yeah.
And in congestive heart failure.
Yes.
On Lasix.
Yes.
To survive. Super low salt diet. Do whatever physical activity you can. But like, this was 35-year-old Tonya. Prime of her life. How old was I then? I was in high school, right? I was in high school when the last one was found. And they were like, yo, we can't operate on this heart anymore. There's not enough function there. Sort of.
They told me at the 4th time that if I got another tumor, I would need a transplant. But it took 5 years for another tumor to show back up again. So
you waited 18 months total
Yeah.
for the heart transplant. You were listed in 2001?
December of 2000.
That's when I graduated high school. Well, I graduated the fall. No, the spring, and then...
No, 2000.
It's 2000?
Is when I got listed. December of 2000? Because it was 18 months later that I got it, which was May of 02. 02.
It wasn't 03?
02. May.
Oh, that was my new...
July of 02.
Okay, July of 02. So, as of now, 22 years.
22 years.
Whoop, whoop! She's killing it. That's pretty awesome. You're pretty unremarkable-ish medically now. You know, there's some aging things, right? That I think...
I'm 60.
Everybody goes
the
through.
diabetes now.
Right, which comes with 22 years of immune-suppressed drugs you take to not reject the heart. So it's like choosing diabetes or death. Diabetes, maybe cancer, those sorts of things down the line. To have another shot at life. So that's pretty cool. So yeah, it's Carney Complex, discovered by Dr. Aidan Carney at the Mayo Clinic in the 80s, I reckon.
60s.
60s?
Yes.
Right on. So he was studying like a cluster of endocrine... he was an endocrinologist, research endocrinologist. He was studying a cluster of symptoms, cardiac myxoma, freckling on the soft pink tissues of the skin, sometimes pituitary tumors, sometimes
Cushing's.
adrenal tumors, which can cause the Cushing's, and it was something else. Sometimes schwannomas on the spine. So those are tumors of the spine that can cause issues. I think that's about it. There's childhood Carney, which is a bit different, and I don't know a lot about that, but I do think those kids need extra care. Whereas hers did not show up till 22, and mine 18. So it is genetic. It's autosomal dominant, meaning 50-50 shot of it being passed. If it's passed, it will be expressed. We have had genetic testing as a family, like your side, your mom's side.
Some have.
Did your dad's side do the things? They didn't. So it was. They knew it was from your mom.
Just the freckling.
She had the freckling.
Pointed us that direction.
Okay, gotcha. So we were part of some genetic testing in the early 2000s. Fast forward, I got to be part of like the study of Carney before all that shit got shut down. But like, yeah, it was cool because they actually had identified the one of the possible genetic mutations that causes it and where it is on the gene. So that was super awesome to be part of that study. I traveled to Bethesda and everything at the NIH. I took some really creepy photos of their Art Deco hospital. Super cool.
You still went 10 days?
I had to stay there. Is that right? 10?
That's a long time. So I wouldn't do it. Yeah, I think it was 10 days. Shit.
Well, I mean, it makes sense. I had everything from dexamethasone course to a cardiac MRI. I'd never had one of those. Big fancy machine. I mean, they had medical photographing of the freckly parts. Right. It was the whole nine. And it was cool to meet. Like, I have a picture with Dr. Stratakis, who picked it up after Dr. Carney retired. Yeah. It was just cool, and there wasn't a lot of money in it, so I had to pay my airplane ticket there and back. But I mean, they got room and board, so yeah. I had to pee in a jug the whole time. I was lured there, like, yeah, and you can go in on the train to what's it close to? The DC? Yeah. You can go exploring and stuff, and I'm like, no, I'm not taking a pee jug on the train. Like, what are you in a pee hat? Don't I have to refrigerate it?
Yeah.
Anyway,
it lied to you.
It was fine.
Yeah.
It was fine.
It was a good thing to do for science.
It was a good thing to do for science. So yeah, I inherited it. And my first episode was also exciting. I was in the college marching band at Middle Tennessee State University, the Band of Blue. My freshman year, right before finals. I missed my finals. I always get a little sick now this time of the year. Not a little sick, but like, things happen. So I was like coughing. And so that morning of the parade, I took Sudafed and some cough syrup, and we didn't have Google back then, but I saw that there weren't the same ingredients. So that was my reasoning. I also had like M&Ms for breakfast. Like, it was rough. It was my freshman year. It was rough. It was rough. And I had just moved from Colorado down to Tennessee. It was stressful. Music major, like, that's no joke. Anyway, so parade. There's like a medley of Christmas carols that towards the end, the baritones, the trombones, have the melody, but it's like halftime, and it's supposed to be, so I'm saying it's like half as fast as the traditional melody, but it's supposed to be nice and loud and powerful and punchy. And I was tired. But at that point I was like, you know what? I'm going to go for it. And I took a big deep breath and I like hit it, and then something hit the note, that is, and then something changed immediately, like with my perception of the world. I had double vision. I was disoriented. It was mainly the double vision of like not getting one picture anymore from your brain, getting the two separate ones at the same time. I remember trying to stay in the ranks, trying to stay in line and addressed and all that stuff, or dressed. And then to the right was my best friend, Julie. She wasn't the best friend at that time, but my section mate, Julie, we were just buds. And I'm like, hey, Julie, is there anything wrong with my eyes? And she's like, she stops playing. She's like, other than they're closed, because she's a smart ass Virgo bitch, Leo Virgo. And so I was like, well, I need to go off to the side. Like, something's wrong. So I sort of fall off to the side of the ranks. The band keeps going. I really don't know who was there around me. Like specific. I just remember hearing voices, people helping me, like people holding on to me, taking me. So I ended up in the back of a police car, a cruiser. The police officer had asked me what I'd taken. So they were, I think at that time, chalking it up to that. But they did take me to the ER, the little ER in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. They were super packed. Were you guys? No, it wasn't. It was Jennifer. Our good buddy Jennifer had come to see us in the parade. Jennifer Richie, whoop, whoop. I guess I shouldn't say her whole name on the YouTubes. Anyway.
We can bleep it.
She was there. She met me at the ER. She found me. They were crowded. I was on a gurney in the hall. It was cold. Like, I was literally next to the door. And they were like, yeah, you just mixed medicines. You didn't eat anything. Even though I had like some pretty telltale signs of stroke. But I was 18.
Right.
So they sent me back to the dorm that night. So I think you knew what had happened?
No, I hadn't had to talk to you yet. I just knew that... I hadn't talked to you. I just knew that you fell out for unknown reason.
Okay.
And that, you had taken Sudafed or... I got the same story. I was like, oh. But I hadn't talked to you yet. And then when I got to you the next morning... Because your dad forgot to wake you up.
I woke up and was still seeing double.
Yeah.
Like, I stumbled into the
And when you described to me what happened,
yeah,
that you could see him 1 minute and then they couldn't see the next, it was an instantaneous thing, then I knew.
Yeah, because you had experienced
then I knew.
that. So
then I freaked out.
You called Dad. Get your ass down there.
Get her to Vanderbilt.
Get her to Vanderbilt.
I'll meet you there.
Here's the test they need.
Here's what happened.
It was like...
Tell them about me. Here's a list. Things to do. And I'll be there as soon as I can.
And you were in the room, right? We finally, whatever, ER, echocardiogram.
Y'all waited. They waited and waited. No, till I got there and insisted. They were not going to do it.
They weren't going to do the echo?
No. They were worried about your brain. All about your brain. And I'm like, yeah, I get it. But can we do this too? Yeah. Well, but they close at 4 and I just had to really be forceful. And they finally did it.
Oh, okay.
They found that might be more important than the brain right now. I mean...
Well, sure.
to check that.
Anyway. But I remember... Here's what I remember. I'm in the room. I still can't see shit. But I see you walk towards the screen, point to it, look at the tech, and the tech nods, and then you leave the room.
Yeah, I couldn't. Yeah.
So that's not good.
No.
No. So what I had is a 10 centimeter large...
Yeah, 10 centimeters. It was a snake.
It was
coming
gangly.
out.
It was gangly ahead. So, like, if 10 centimeters, that's about 5.
Yeah.
So the valve was actually one of my heart valves was actually closing over it.
Yeah, it was.
And just like with Mom sending stuff out. So whereas her symptoms sort of went to her legs.
Yeah.
That was the first,
Yeah, it happened to be going to my legs, not my brain. Hers went to her brain.
Mine went to my brain. Were they different?
Mm-mm. I had small things happen before that I didn't know what they were.
Oh, okay. You had other complications. Yeah. So for me, I really didn't notice anything until this.
Right.
Okay, so, oh my God, there we are. There was a giant tumor inside Lindsay's heart. You thought we had time. I was only 18. Holy shit.
Yeah, I didn't know what else.
So at that point, you were listed in Birmingham.
Right.
And when you're listed for a transplant, you have to stay within a whatever mile radius they say. I think it was 90?
Yeah.
90-mile radius, so that,
you have to
a
get there in
suitable
under
heart,
2 hours.
a suitable organ, there you go. If a suitable organ becomes available, then you have to be within 2 hours drive so that, do the things.
Mm-hmm.
So even though everyone fights and clamors to get into Vanderbilt, maybe not nowadays. Jesus. Anyway, we wanted to move down to UAB, University of Alabama Birmingham Hospital.
Yeah, wanted her surgery done down there.
Yeah, so she could be around, an advocate. But it was also, we love Dr. Jim Kirkland.
Mm-hmm.
That's who did your
Third and fifth
surgeries, heart surgeries. So he let us in. He let us into his schedule, and I got to have it down there. So yeah, you don't know what you don't know before you have a surgery like that. I remember you telling me it felt like literally being hit by a Mack truck in the chest. Coming out from being on the lung and heart bypass machine with fluid on your lungs, and yet having just been sort of, cracked open, having to cough that up to avoid pneumonia. They give you a pillow to squeeze so that as you cough, it can help sort of brace you. It's no fun. Anyway, there's a lot more details that we could tell about that. But for me, my first one is in 2001. My second one, 2008. It's now 2024, and I have not had a third. I see lots of texts coming through from my family because I did not warn them that I'd be gone for this long. So maybe,
close here.
Here, and you want to hear more details of all the medical. I mean, it's like a show. It's like a movie. There's a lot of other stuff to tell y'all, but at least we got it started today. We've been talking about it forever, right? Yeah. And it was in the cards yet again. Shout out to Deanna. Okay. Yeah, so I'm going to go take my kid shopping. She needs some clothes that aren't too short. But we'll be back, Internet.
Bye.
Bye. This has been the Tonya Lindsay Show.